In politics, timing is everything. History gives you very few perfect moments, and the ones who seize those moments win. Today, I want to tell you the story of a man who had the perfect moment. He had the support, he had the momentum, he had the people behind him, but he did not move. And that one decision cost him everything. This is the story of Abdullah ibn Zubayr. To understand this story, we need to go back a little. The Umayyad dynasty was ruling the Islamic world at this time, and they were ruling with an iron fist. There were many rebellions against them, but the Umayyads had a powerful war machine. Most rebellions failed. However, one resistance movement proved to be different. It was led by a man named Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Everything changed after the martyrdom of Hussein ibn Ali at Karbala. The entire Muslim world was in shock. People were furious. Loyalty to Yazid, the Umayyad king, collapsed almost overnight. Province after province was on the edge of open rebellion. In Medina, people rose up under Abdullah ibn Hanzala. In Makkah, Abdullah ibn Zubair took up arms. The resistance had begun. Yazid responded quickly. He sent a large Syrian army to crush both uprisings. They marched to Medina first. The city fell, it was looted and burned. Then they moved on to Mecca. They laid siege to the city for weeks, but they could not break through. The terrain around Mecca was difficult, and there was a deep reluctance to bombard the Kaaba. The rebels held on. Then something unexpected happened. The news arrived that Yazid had died. The Syrian army immediately lost its will to fight. They lifted the siege and returned home. And suddenly Abdullah ibn Zubair was free. Not just free, he was powerful. He declared himself Caliph in Mecca. The Hijaz, Iraq, and even the parts of Egypt recognized him. The Umayyad heartland in Syria was in complete chaos. Yazid's son Muawiya II refused to take the throne. He wanted no part of the bloodshed his father had caused. There was a vacuum at the very top of the empire. This was the moment. This was the perfect moment. But Abdullah ibn Zubair stayed in Mecca. He did not march on to Syria. He did not seize the political and military centers of power. And while he stayed still, someone else moved. A man named Marwan ibn Hakam, a cousin of the early Umayyads, reunified Syria. He claimed the throne for himself. The window had closed. So, what went wrong? Why didn't he move? There are three major reasons. The first is geography. Makkah was a strong defensible position. That geography had saved him during the first siege. But now that same geography became his prison. Makkah is in the heart of Arabian Peninsula. It is far from Syria, far from Iraq, far from the real centers of power. By staying there, he became a regional leader, not an imperial one. The second reason is money and loyalty. Running an empire requires more than piety. It requires patronage, rewards, gifts for tribal chiefs. The Umayyads understood this very well. Abdullah ibn Zubair was known for being frugal and uncompromising. He did not buy loyalty the way his rivals did. Over time, the tribal leaders drifted away from him. The third reason is internal division. His movement was not the only opposition to the Umayyads. The Kharajites were fighting their own war. In Kufa, Mukhtar Sakafi launched an pro-Alid uprising. Instead of facing one enemy, Abdullah ibn Zubair was fighting on multiple fronts. His resources were stretched. His focus was broken. In the meantime, the new Umayyad Caliph al-Malik ibn Marwan, the son of Marwan ibn Hakam, was building his power systematically. He unified Syria, he professionalized his army, and then he sent his most feared general, Hajjaj ibn Yusuf to finish the job. The second siege of Makkah began in 692 AD. This time, there was no news of sudden death to save the rebels. One by one, Ibn Zubayr's supporters defected. Some were exhausted, some were bribed. In the end, he stood almost alone. He fought until the very last moment, and he died defending the city he had never left. Now, here is the irony of this story. Geography helped him survive, but geography also stopped him from winning. Hussein ibn Ali's resistance collapsed quickly because it lacked a sustainable base. Abdullah ibn Zubayr solved that problem. His base was solid, but a solid base means nothing if you never capitalize on it. He turned a potential empire into a prolonged siege. He turned a revolution into a footnote. The lesson is simple: defense keeps you alive, but only offense wins wars. He waited for the empire to come to him. The empire did come, and it finished him. Destiny gave Abdullah ibn Zubair a rare opening. For a brief moment, the throne was his to take, but he hesitated, and history does not forgive hesitation.